Hello everyone and welcome to episode 004 of the Noid Botanicals CBD podcast, where we talk about all things CBD and our own CBD store, Noid Botanicals. If you haven't already, guys, go ahead and check out our past 3 episodes available now on Spotify and YouTube. But anyways, if you're here now, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for tuning in, and we're going to have a great podcast episode. This week we're going to go over the latest news in the cannabis industry. We're also going to give you some Noid updates on some new things we have brewing here. We'll get into some Q&A, and then lastly we'll finish off with some healthy habits for you guys. So this podcast is going to start out with a little bit of This Week in Cannabis. So this week an article was released entitled Arizona Climate Blamed for Off-the-Charts THC Failure in First Hemp Crops. Arizona hemp farmers are blaming the state's climate for elevated levels of THC within their 2019 hemp plants. Nearly 41% of all plants harvested last year were over and exceeded the 0.3% level of THC that is allowed to be considered a hemp plant. Now, other states such as Hawaii and Nebraska have been experiencing similar issues. State officials have attributed these shocking results to variability in seed quality, but also genetic expression for these hemp plants grown in Arizona. Ryan Tracy, who is the founder of C4 Laboratories, which is a cannabis testing company, has stated that strains that may perform well in other states may not grow so well in Arizona due to its hot and dry climate. He stated, stressed out plants do crazy things, which may explain the reason why these plants have an elevated level of THC. The plants were so hot and dry and in conditions that they weren't used to that it may have caused the levels of THC to shoot up as the plant was adapting to its environment. As we know, plants are very aware of their environments and they adapt to whatever's going on. And so therefore, this may have been the cause of the elevated THC levels. The USDA has projected that 20% of all hemp grown in this coming year, 2020, will need to be destroyed as it will exceed legal THC limits for considering it a hemp plant. And by federal law, these plants that test hot are not allowed to be used in any way, no matter if it's a legal recreational state. The plants must be destroyed. How sad. We were gonna actually open up our mailboxes and say, hey, send them to us. All right, wouldn't that be great? Well, unfortunately, the USDA forces these producers to actually destroy their crops, and they have to literally burn these crops before their very eyes without any good use out of them, which is a very unfortunate fact and reality. And it is especially hurting a ton of farmers, especially the smaller guys and those who are just getting into this and getting used to growing hemp are really being shocked by the results and by having to trash a lot of these plants. It's quite a shame, and we definitely feel for these farmers that are having these issues, and we hope you guys the best, and hopefully this can be a learning experience that farmers in Arizona can now adapt either the seeds they use or the techniques they use to grow the plants to ensure that they grow with proper THC levels. So unfortunately for Arizona hemp farmers, the 2019 harvest season was absolutely atrocious and was not very fruitful. So again, hopefully this can be used as a positive learning experience that will help out future hemp farmers. So as it seems, hemp plants require very delicate and certain conditions, and based on the plant and based on the climate, that may alter the genetic makeup of the plant when it's fully grown. And that's all for that Arizona story, guys. Again, our hearts go out to the Arizona hemp farmers who are being affected by this. Best of luck to you guys. I really hope you can keep pushing through and keep participating in this wonderful movement that is the CBD and hemp movement. Our next story comes from an ex-police officer who is claiming that her son has gone 224 days seizure-free due to the use of cannabis oil. Lisa Quarrell is a 38-year-old mother, ex-cop, and now a cannabis advocate. Her son Cole suffers from a drug-resistant form of epilepsy that causes seizures to happen in half of his brain. Before cannabis, Cole was experiencing up to 20 episodes per day. That's a simply unbearable number to watch your child go through, up to 20 episodes of seizures per day. I couldn't even imagine putting myself in those shoes and having to watch that and the pain that they're going through and the questions and everything that you have to back up your kid on. I mean, that's such an unfair reality, but unfortunately it happens to some people, and through cannabis, it's looking like it can really be used to help these people live that better life. You know, we can't necessarily take away this syndrome, but if we can alleviate the symptoms and make it as if virtually the syndrome or the disease is no longer there, that is what, CBD and cannabis has been doing. It's really been helping out with the symptoms, and therefore it's really been helping people be happier, get back to their normal self, even in cases like this one. After introducing cannabis oil into Cole's health regimen, he now enjoys a healthy, normal lifestyle as a kid without worries about seizures. Lisa stated that Cole went from a normal wee boy riding his bike to being in a wheelchair. He lost the power of speech and couldn't lift his head, but cannabis oil has turned his life around. There were days when I could not stop crying. And this is it, guys. We are helping people in some of the worst places that you could be in. And so it is so powerful, and this is why we are so passionate about moving this movement forward and spreading the message to anyone that will listen. And it's really why when people try CBD or cannabis and it goes well for them, they are so eager to share it. And that is because it's doing something so positive, and they see the positive results and they want to share that with others who they think could potentially benefit from it. And that's again the CBD movement in a nutshell. That's the cannabis movement in a nutshell. Helping each other, educating each other, letting each other know why this might be a great option for you. Cole actually underwent surgery to correct the issue, but it unfortunately did not work out. It was a failed surgery and did not improve the condition. After the surgery and seeing no results, Cole's mother researched into cannabis oil, and she decided to go out on a limb and take a risk to smuggle the cannabis oil into the Netherlands where she lives. Since a few weeks after the initial dose, Cole was seizure-free for the first time in his life. Lisa was then brought on TV to describe her experiences with cannabis oil, epilepsy, and her son. After doing so, police actually launched a probe into Lisa and the use of her cannabis oil with her child. This just goes to show the unfair, unjust, and incredible misunderstanding that people have about cannabis and how it is used or not used. Especially when you're talking about CBD that is non-intoxicating. People are very wary about giving cannabis to kids. Meanwhile, they will feed them with synthetics, prescriptions, and so on and so forth, with question marks as to what it's going to do to their long-term health and how it's going to affect them, as well as a potential for addiction with some medications. Luckily though, Lisa was not charged with any crimes, as I'm sure the police understood that this was being used in a holistic way to actually help a child become seizure-free. And I mean, how could you argue with that? If you're a cop coming up to a call and you're launching a probe into a mother who is giving her epileptic son cannabis oil and it is working and keeping him seizure-free, I mean, I just can imagine how you would want to take that away from that mother and the child. It would be cruel and it would be unfair. So props to the police who dealt with the case. I'm very thankful, and I'm sure Lisa and her son Cole are as well. Since then, Lisa has found a legal way of importing the cannabis oil into Holland. So no more worries about scurrying around the law and possibly ending up behind bars. Lisa stated that she will not stop the use of cannabis oil with her son, no matter the stigma or the legalities surrounding it, stating the alternative is pumping him full of chemicals with harmful side effects that don't work. And we support you, Lisa, 100%. Go Lisa and go Cole. And this just goes to show our point again, prescription medications have their use cases and have their times where they're good, but many times they come with too many drawbacks to become a long-term, lasting solution. And so therefore, natural, homeopathic, alternative care such as cannabis is such a viable and healthy option for people in these kinds of situations. We're so happy to hear that Lisa and Cole are having a fantastic result with cannabis oil and keeping Cole seizure free. It just goes to show the power of cannabis and how much we have to learn about it as a whole and as a therapeutic substance. Keep it up, Lisa and Cole. And our last cannabis story for today's episode is entitled Chemistry Snapshot: The Problem with Selecting Cannabis Based on Genetics. One of the most common issues reported by cannabis consumers is that they are unable to find a strain that gives them consistent results that they're looking for. As currently, the dispensary experience is segmented by strain names like Gorilla Glue and Jack Herer, or by genetics such as indica, sativa, or hybrid, which is only a part of the variability in effects from plant to plant. Consumers are then left on their own to figure out which cannabis strain will work best for them in a game of guess who. They've also been relying on opinions of others, which is a good source, but again, because of the variability in genetics, this is not always an absolute way of finding out what will work for you. In fact, effects can vary from person to person. Strain names can actually just be slapped on, and perhaps a grower slapped on a more popular strain name because he knew it would sell more, and so therefore strain names aren't always the absolute way of telling that a strain is what it says it is. In fact, we find many times it is not the exact same strain each and every time, although it is indicated by the grower that it is a particular strain. This may create variability in effects of each strain. Even if the same exact cannabis seeds are used to grow multiple plants, the final end batch will produce at least slightly different genetics based on many different factors. So instead, we must understand the individual chemical makeup of each cannabis plant at hand, because any one strain can produce varying effects for different people. While one person can have a euphoric and energetic effect from a certain strain, another person can feel lethargic and relaxed from that same strain. The major contributing factors to this are both the cannabinoids and the terpenes within the plant. Now, in the past couple episodes, we've discussed terpenes and the differences they can have on both the effects and also things like the aroma and the taste. So when you are smelling cannabis and you get pine scents and lemon scents and diesel scents and earthy scents, these are all stemming from what we call the terpenes, which are found within many plants, not just cannabis. For example, when you smell a pine tree, you are smelling the pinene that is in the pine needles. So on and so forth. When you smell a lemon, you are smelling the limonene that is in the skin. And so these aromas are found in nature, and they're also found in cannabis. So that is where you get the variability in smell, and it also, in fact, has a ton to do with the effects that you will realize. Our bodies process these chemicals differently for everyone. Due to our different states of brain chemistry, we need different sets of cannabinoids and terpenes to reach the sweet spot that we are looking to find. We need to understand that there is still a ton that is unknown about cannabis, but that we are learning more and more by the day. Although this is true that we have a ton more to learn, we do have some guidelines that have stemmed from already performed research. Terpenes represent a critical aspect in terms of the effects you will feel from a certain cannabis strain. And therefore, consumers should be looking for terpene profiles and terpene tests where you can discern which terpenes are present in that cannabis plant. And that may be key in deciding which cannabis strain or batch you should go with. Consumers should be looking for extensive lab tests that include terpene testing. Now, terpene testing is not required in every state, and in fact, many companies do not perform it. But there are companies that are turning over, and the more we expect this, the more the companies will perform these extensive terpene tests. They are naturally becoming more popular as vendors and distributors and producers realize that terpenes do have a profound effect on the results that people will feel when consuming their products. And as such, they want to create a better experience for the customer and will be able to further discern which product might work best for you. It's something we're working on, and we're trying to get really creative with it to try and see which terpenes will help with what, and if we can use that information to further crunch down which product will be best for you. Now, in terms of CBD, there's even less people doing terpene testing because hemp is less considered for its effects, because it's more looked at for that therapeutic effect where you're not really per se feeling it so much. It's something that works more in the background. So a lot of our CBD companies currently do not perform terpene testing, but a good amount of them do. So be sure to check out our website, and any product has a link to the lab test where you can see if they do have terpene testing. So to achieve the best results from cannabis, CBD, or hemp, you're gonna want to look into the terpene profile and decide if the terpenes that are in there are right for you. Now, to achieve the best results from cannabis, you should be journaling your experience and the results you get from differing cannabis strains and products. This will help to let you know which cannabis strains and batches may be the best for you, because you already know which terpenes work best, and you can kind of make a kind of comparison to see which products, which terpenes, and which cannabinoids have worked best for you and made you feel the best, most effective results. So that wraps up our This Week in Cannabis. That's a little bit of tips to kind of hone your product selection when trying to choose the right CBD product. And it's actually very, very intuitive and very intriguing. And we should learn a lot more about terpenes and how they affect our experience in the future weeks, months, and years. So next up, guys, I want to provide you with a few new things that have been going on here with some Noid updates. So our updates for this week include a couple of new products that I think you'll really enjoy. First up is our new Lazarus Naturals unscented CBD balm. Now this balm delivers 1,200 milligrams of full spectrum whole plant CBD, and that would mean 600 milligrams per ounce of balm. As stated, it is a full spectrum product that does contain THC along with all the other naturally occurring cannabinoids and compounds from the hemp plant. Now, the reason we got this balm is because we were hearing that customers wanted something unscented. So this balm is completely free of fragrances or scents. It is naturally scented and there's no strong odor that comes from it. So for those sensitive to smells and aromas, this serves as the perfect product for you, especially if you're looking for a topical. The balm has a pasty and waxy texture as expected, with a slight grit that smooths out upon application. The balm utilizes mango butter, organic white beeswax, organic fractionated coconut oil, hemp extract, oleic acid, and isopropyl myristate. So a wonderful combination of ingredients to bring you quick, fast-acting, full-spectrum relief, and this represents currently the highest milligram per ounce topical that we carry. So if you're looking for high-strength relief, full-spectrum relief in any targeted localized area, go ahead and shop that Lazarus Naturals unscented balm on our website or in store now. This next product is from Lazarus Naturals, and it's their Energy Blend CBD capsules. These guys deliver 25 milligrams of CBD per capsule and bring 40 of the capsules in one bottle, for a total of 1,000 milligrams of CBD. They are completely THC free, so for you guys who are concerned about substance testing or those who aren't very fond of THC, these capsules are completely THC free. They're specially formulated to give you energy and focus without the wired feelings or jitteriness. Along with 25 milligrams of CBD, you will also receive 2.4 micrograms of vitamin B12. Also, you receive 250 milligrams of their proprietary energy blend, which includes L-theanine, rhodiola, and caffeine. Now, L-theanine is an amino acid found commonly in tea leaves. It's known to promote relaxation without drowsiness. In fact, it has been found to increase focus, cognitive function, and may reduce blood pressure and boost your immune system. Now, rhodiola is an herb that grows in cold, mountainous regions of Europe and Asia. The roots are considered an adaptogen, which means it will help your body adapt to stress. Rhodiola can decrease stress, fight fatigue, help reduce symptoms of depression, improve brain function, exercise performance. It can help with diabetes, and it may have anti-cancer properties. So a healthy blend of energetic and clarity-focused ingredients to help you get energy throughout your day. The 50 milligrams of caffeine is a sufficient amount to give you energy without the jitters, and the CBD actually counteracts the caffeine's effects to make you hyperactive, anxious, and jittery. These capsules are vegan as they are plant-based and they are gluten-free as well. So for anybody that's vegan or gluten-free, this is a capsule that you are welcome to take and can be sure in the safety of it. Other ingredients include microcrystalline cellulose, vegetable cellulose, which is the capsule, and the previously mentioned ingredients. So guys, if you're looking for a CBD product that will provide you energy, first of all, CBD is great at giving you a clearer mind and better focus, and therefore you should ultimately have more energy. But with the addition of the L-theanine, the caffeine, the rhodiola, and so on and so forth, they will all come together for a wonderful, wonderful blend of energy and focus with the calm and relaxed state that CBD gives you. So you end up kind of right in the middle with nice energy without the jitters. Perfect, guys. That wraps up our Noid updates segment for this week. And that's all we got for you. So I hope you're excited about those products. They are both available in store or online now. Next up, guys, let's go over some Q&A. The first question we have for today is, can CBD oil interfere with medications? In fact, guys, we have done a blog post on this, so go ahead and make sure to check that out on our website if you want to see more details than what I cover here. But here are the basics. CBD has the theoretic potential to interact with your CYP450 or cytochrome 450 proteins. These proteins are responsible for the breakdown of traditional medicines within your body. Now, this is an effect that is also observed with grapefruit. So if you do have a medicine that you know has a warning on it to not consume grapefruit, and if you've ever been told that by your doctor, this is something you want to look at. Now, although this is true, what we have found through our research from primary doctors and scientists is that the effect will likely only take place in instances where there's high dosages of 200 milligrams plus of CBD being administered daily. So it seems that it's going to need a high amount of CBD where most people are never even going to work up to that amount and will never need that amount. So this is something to decide on your own. You should use discretion as well as consult with your doctor, although we are wary, as many doctors are anti-cannabis and in the old traditional mindset of thinking. So take it with a grain of salt. Your doctor does advise you against. It is something that you have to decide on your own. This does not serve as medical advice. We are simply sharing this information with you. And as we said, in most cases, it will have to take over 200 milligrams, but who knows if there are exceptions. But from what we've seen in experimentation and anecdotal results, there hasn't been that effect of the CBD on the cytochrome 450 proteins. The danger there would be that the medication would be therefore at elevated levels within your blood due to the CYP450 proteins not breaking it down correctly. So there's that, guys. If you are taking other medications, you can consult with your doctor, check the label, and also consult the internet to see which medications may have interactions with grapefruit or CBD. Secondly, it is your choice to discern whether you want to take that risk. As we've stated, there are many scientists and doctors that are stating that from what they've seen, it takes well over 200 milligrams of CBD taken on a daily basis for this effect to happen. All right, the next question is how CBD tinctures work. So if you don't know already, guys, CBD oil tinctures are delivered sublingually. And what does that mean? That means that you place the oil underneath your tongue and it is actually delivered directly to the bloodstream by being absorbed through mucous membranes beneath your tongue. So when you place the oil underneath your tongue, it is actually getting absorbed. And if you let it sit for long enough, there will not be any oil in your mouth anymore. There are also mucous membranes along the cheek lines that will actually absorb the CBD, and so you can swish it around your mouth, although a lot of the action is happening underneath your tongue, and it's very easy to kind of keep it there and hold it there. So that's essentially how CBD oil tinctures work. They are delivered directly to the bloodstream, and that's why they work quicker than capsules or gummies where you're ingesting it and digesting it through your stomach, through your liver, so on and so forth. Next question is, are CBD and hemp the same? So I hear this question a ton of times in store. Are CBD and hemp the same thing, or are they different? So we have to remember, guys, hemp refers to the plant, the cannabis plant. It's the sister or the cousin to the marijuana plant. This is the plant that all of our products are derived from, and it's what makes them legal at a federal level in all 50 states. Now, CBD is just a part of hemp. It is one of the many cannabinoids found within the plant. It is also found within the marijuana plant. But again, primarily, it is found in higher concentrations in the hemp plant. So hemp is the plant that it comes from, and CBD is just a part of that plant that has been extracted and is now being used for many therapeutic purposes. Think of hemp being a whole and CBD being just one part of that whole. That is what CBD represents. Just a single cannabinoid within the range of over 400 different compounds and cannabinoids from the hemp plant. This last one is a two-part question and begins with, are CBD capsules any good, and are CBD gummies as effective as the oil? So guys, something to know, as long as it is a whole plant, full spectrum CBD product, and even if it's not full spectrum, as long as it's whole plant hemp extract being used, it should produce pretty similar results when you find the correct dosing. Now, some methods require higher dosing as there is lower bioavailability. This basically means how much of the CBD is actually making it into your bloodstream. Another important factor is what we call onset, or the amount of time that it takes before you feel the effects or results from the CBD. Now, capsules and gummies are good. They serve a very good purpose, and many people choose them over oil or other delivery methods. In fact, capsules provide a tasteless, pre-measured way to take CBD without any guesswork and without having to taste any sort of flavor. So for customers who don't enjoy the taste of CBD oil and can't find something they can actually take down, well, then I like to give them capsules because it provides a very tasteless way of taking it. Gummies also provide a very tasteful and flavorful way of consuming CBD. They absolutely taste, for the most part, like a regular gummy or candy. You do get slight bitterness, most likely on the end there. You are going to get a bitterness of the hemp extract, and you should. It shouldn't taste exactly like a regular gummy bear because then it wouldn't have any CBD in it. So it's good to have a slight hempy and kind of bitter taste in there. Now, as I said before, the bioavailability and quickness or onset are two important factors. When you ingest a capsule or a gummy, your body must then digest and process it. So it is digested through your stomach and processed through your liver, which may produce slightly different effects than the oil because the CBD is rendered slightly differently through your liver. Also, the THC is rendered differently through your liver. Also, THC is processed quite differently when it goes through your liver. For example, capsules or gummies take anywhere from 1 hour on the short end to 3 hours on the long end to take effect, whereas an oil tincture will take anywhere from 20 minutes to 1 hour to take effect. Now, as you can see, there's a big difference there in terms of the onset or quickness of each product. Also, take into account the loss of CBD that will happen due to the processing and digestion of these products. So when you're swallowing that capsule or that gummy, a lot of that CBD is going to be broken down and lost within your body's system. So there's a likelihood that you will have to take more milligrams of CBD in the form of a gummy or a capsule than you would in an oil form. Now, there are times where capsules or gummies can serve especially good, such as digestive issues or health, as the capsules or gummies get further down into your system instead of being distributed through those mucous membranes under your tongue. That may provide a higher level of benefit from those suffering from digestive issues and digestive health problems that are going on in the lower regions of the body. And so, are CBD capsules or gummies good? Yes, they absolutely are. Many of our customers rely on them day in and day out, and it's all about your personal preference and what works for you and provides you with the best results possible. Perfect, guys. That wraps up our Q&A segment, and we're going to move into our last segment for today, which is our healthy habits section. So let's talk about a few healthy habits to send you on your way so you can keep living happier and healthier. Our first point today is getting enough sleep. Getting the proper amount of sleep is vital to your physical and mental health. Poor sleep can drive insulin resistance, disrupt your appetite, and decrease mental and physical performance. Scientists have also found an increase in the risk of obesity within those who aren't getting enough sleep. Really make sure that you're getting the proper amounts, guys. It's not a joke. It can actually prolong your life to actually get more sleep. And it can make your mornings better, your days better, and your nights better. So try and get as much sleep as possible without oversleeping. But get enough sleep, guys. It's important for you and your mental and physical health. Our second tip for the day is make sure to eat protein. So guys, protein is one of the most important macronutrients. It's especially helpful in weight loss and also in muscle gain. Protein can actually boost your metabolism and force you to eat less as you feel more full, which can reduce your cravings to snack and improve your diet and health. Lower blood sugar and pressure levels have been observed in those who tend to eat more protein. So overall, guys, get your meats, get your eggs, and get your almonds, because proteins are a super important part of any healthy and balanced diet, and you definitely want to make sure you're getting the proper amount as frequently as you can. Our last tip of the day, guys, is drink some coffee. Now, we understand if you don't like the flavor or something else about coffee, that is totally fine, but contrary to popular belief, coffee is actually healthy for you. In fact, it's high in antioxidants. And it also has been linked to longevity and or lengthening your life. Lastly, it has also been linked to a reduction in the risk for Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, diabetes, and many other diseases. So don't be afraid to grab that cup of joe or that morning cup of coffee. And even if you want to have it in the middle of the day or whatever works for you, you can have coffee without feeling guilt. Now, we want you to be careful with something, guys. Don't go crazy adding sugar and creamer to your coffee, because that's going to defeat the entire purpose. Try and utilize the least amount of sugar and or creamer that you are able to enjoyably consume. And even if you have to adjust over weeks and months to kind of take down the amount of creamer and sugar you're putting in, you should definitely try to reduce it and keep it to a minimum. Black coffee would be the healthiest option, but again, we understand that that's not exactly drinkable for everyone. So we invite you to try and utilize the least amount of sugar or creamer that you can. So that does it, guys. Episode number 4 is wrapped up. I hope it really went well, and I think we're really getting better and better each and every time we record one. And as you can see, I changed up the scenery a bit, wanted to make it a little more exciting for the eye, and also it just works out better here. So thank you guys for tuning in to today's episode. It brought a lot of knowledge. We covered some cannabis news, some questions, and some healthy habits. So with that, guys, that is the end of episode 4. I hope you have a fantastic day. Take your CBD, stay happy, stay healthy. Thanks, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.